It's hard to believe that I'm on day 14, and that actually means there's only 10 days till Christmas Eve, and there's so much to do. Anyway, a little crochet Christmas tree is going up today. I think I'm going to put it up at the top here. So I'll get my ladders out. I'll be nearly not needing the ladders at all. The other thing is that it's sunny today, and so that means, with any luck, I'm going to bring the Christmas tree in. And if I manage to do that, that's the video you'll see tomorrow, because today you've got a little easy crochet thing, and I'm keeping everything crossed that the Christmas tree comes in today, and for its 10 days before Christmas seems a good time to bring it into me. There it is. I think that looks nice hanging beside number 14. I'm going to show you today how to make this little hanging wreath for your tree or your mantelpiece, and it's made from these rings, and these rings were from a curtain. If you don't have them, you could use wooden curtain rings, and if you don't have wooden curtain rings, you can cut out a ring from cardboard and you can use that to crochet around. So just because you don't have some metal curtain rings like I do from some old curtains doesn't mean you can't make it, because there's 3 options. I actually think this would be a good one for just normal wooden curtain rings too. So I'm going to crochet on them, and I'm going to make one into a little Christmas wreath hanging ornament. But I don't really need another big green Christmas wreath made out of wool. I actually quite like one for the summer. So the rest of them are going to get made into a summer ring. But to start off, I'm going to show you, hopefully in both right and left-handed, how to crochet around these rings and make it into something pretty. So I'm using this green double knitting wool. I'm using it double because I want it to be quick, and I haven't got any thicker wool that's in this colour green, and I don't want to sew in ends either where I can help it. So I'm using quite a long tail here at the moment, and I'm going to try and do this as if people don't really know how to crochet either. So for those of you who know how to crochet, this is going to be really a simple thing. So I'm just going to hold a loop. I've got a 5.5mm crochet hook here, and I'll show you right-handed first because I am quicker with my right hand, even though I'm a left-handed person. I'm putting my crochet hook through the middle of the ring, and I'm going to pick that loop up and pull it through. And now I'm going to hold the ring in my little finger and my ring finger, and I'm going to crochet with both of these pieces together because I don't really want this end loose. So I'm just going to pick up both of them over my finger like that, and I'm going to put it round my hook and pull my hook through, and that is your first stitch. And now we're attached to the ring. So every stitch now, I'm just going to hold this on the back with my finger at the back, because we're going through the ring all the time and everything is going to slip. So I'm just going to hold that stitch with my middle finger at the back, going back through the loop, and pick up that loop and bring it back through to the front again, and you'll see you've got the double loop on your hook. And when I get back up to the top, I want to make every stitch along the edge of the ring, and so the wool is going to come over the hook and pull through, and that's actually a double crochet, or if you're in the States, that might be a single crochet. And so I'm just going to carry on. So there's not enough of this tail to go through the hook again. I'm just going to hold it onto the back of here so that my stitches go over the top of it, and that'll mean that I don't have an end to sew in. So I'm going to go back through the middle, pick up that loop with the hook and let the hook bring it back right the way through the little ring, back up so it's lying on the top, I'm going to keep that quite nicely firm, not too tight but nicely firm, and then I'm going to let the hook pick up that loop and pull it through the 2 loops on my hook. In this way I'm just going to crochet around the ring. There's another one. So through the ring, pick up a loop, bring the loop back up to the top so that you're lying along the top of the ring. Pick up a loop again, pick up the loop of the thread and pull it through. And it should come through easily. You shouldn't be holding on so tight you can't get that hook through. I'm just going to make sure that they're all packed up together quite nicely. I don't want them too spread out. Through, pick up, over your hook, through the 2. Now because that little tail is going to get on my nerves, I'm going to cut it off. At some point on your journey around the ring you want to put a hanging loop in, and I think the easiest way to do it is just to put a loop around your finger to make the hanging loop and go through to collect your stitch as normal. Keep the tension on this finger because that's your loop, and do your double crochet like normal. That still leaves this loop sort of hanging here, you can see. And so all I do is I pull that loop up and take my finger out and I gather this loop through it. So that's the hanging loop. And I put my finger back in, my crochet hook back into the working loop and pull it properly tight. And then you've secured that hanging loop. It can't come out. As soon as I've got the next stitch on, I can drop my hanging loop and it's there secured. It's just a nice neat way of putting your loop on. And then I just carry on round. And so we get back round to the beginning. You want to keep packing your stitches in because you want a good coverage on your ring. But it gets to the point where you can't get another one in. Or just shove one in anyway because you want it packed up. So to finish off I'm going to slip stitch closure, which just means I'm going to put the hook through that stitch that's waiting on the top. There they all are waiting all the way around. I've put my hook through the very first one. I pick up the loop like that and pull it through that stitch, and I'll just go straight through the one on my needle and then I'm done. It could just be left like that. It's quite a nice little hanging ring that can be decorated with something, but it's nice to go back round and make it a little bit frilly. So to do that I'm just going to do 3 chain, and a chain is just round your crochet hook and just straight through the one on your loop, one on your hook again. So around your crochet hook and straight through. So if I do 3 of those and then I go into the next chain along and pick up my loop and do my double crochet, I'm going to be left with a little frilly edge, and it's very, very simple. So 1, 2, 3, and then the one I'm going into, I'm going to hold it as close as I can. I'm missing that one out and I'm going into the next one along, picking up my loop just like we did on the ring, round my hook and through, and there's my little frill going to come on. 1, 2, 3, miss a stitch and go into the stitch. And here we are back to the beginning, and it has worked out fine. There's my missed stitch and I'm back into the one, and I'm just going to slip that stitch to finish it off. And slipping that stitch to finish it off just means that I'm going to go back into the very beginning, pick up that loop, pull it through, and then immediately pull it through the one on my hook. And I can cut that off and say that's finished for the green. I'll just go and get my scissors. I've cut that off quite short, and I'm just going to pull the whole thread through, and if I pull that, that is now secure and your crochet will not unthread, it'll not run. I've just threaded quite a big wool needle with that double thread, and I'm just going to weave it into the back. So I've got some green wool in my needle, in my wool needle, with a blunt point on it, and I've got this little jar of wooden beads that came off a necklace, and there are plenty red ones, and so I'm just going to come in from the back with a knot on my end of my wool, and I'm going to pick up some beads to make holly berries, and I can just sew through the front of the crocheting. So I take 3, I put them on individually, and another one, and I think little red buttons would do just as well. And then I can thread my needle through the back until it comes out somewhere else, and do that again. I think that's very jolly. And I think if you didn't have the red beads, then little red buttons would work, and also little red French nuts just embroidered out of red wool, something like that. That would also work really well. I have this wool here that I was about to make the rest of the wreath with, and it has a bit with some red on it. So I'm actually just going to go in and out of my little lacy bit all the way around and flatten it all out. Take that to the back and just tie them in a knot to finish them off. I might end up hanging this on my advent garland, you never know. I think that looks really pretty. I thought it would be worth showing it left-handed too, because, well, I'm left-handed, but I mainly crochet right-handed because neither my mum nor my grandma could manage to teach me to do it left-handed when I was little. I learned to knit when I was about 6 or 7, and then I learned to crochet at about 8 or 9-year-old. I taught myself to crochet left-handed as an adult, but I've never picked up the speed that I do right-handed, and it's just because I've been doing it that way so long. But there's no reason why, if you're left-handed, you shouldn't be able to crochet left-handed. So I'm going to show you how to do this whole thing again. The wool's the same, the hook's the same. I'm going to hold the yarn in my right hand over my finger for the tension. I've got a loop. I haven't put a slip knot on at all. So this is just particularly if you're new to crochet and you want to do something really pretty. And it's not that difficult. I'm going to put my hook through the middle of the ring, and I'm going to pick up that loop on the hook and bring it through. And I just have to keep the tension on this hand. But I'm going to hold both of those things together now because I don't want to have to sew in the tail. So to get started off, I'm just going to push my hook right through the loop and pick up that piece on there on the hook, and I'm just going to let the hook pull it straight through the loop. And what that does is it now secures my wool. I can let go and I'm secured onto the ring. So to do the next stitch, I'm just going to hold this loop with my middle finger of my left hand because I don't want everything to be slipping all over the place, but I'm going to put my hook back through the ring and pick up that loop there and pull it all the way back through, and I end up back at the top again because we're crocheting through this metal ring, and my hook goes forward, it picks up that there, and it pulls through everything that's on the hook, and I get another loop. And now I'm just going to drop that extra bit there because it's now in, and I can cut it off in a minute. So now I'm on just with my double length of yarn, and again where I'm just going in with my left hand on the hook, I pick up that loop with the with the yarn. This is more complicated than just doing the normal crochet, just because we're going through a metal ring. I pick up and I'm going through both, and that's another stitch done. Picking up both threads, bringing them back up to the top, and then picking up and bringing through both that are on my hook. Do it again, through the ring, pick up the loop and bring it all the way back through and up to the top. Pick up that loop and just let the hook bring it through those loops. And there's another stitch done. And you've already made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. And so in that way I'm going to go right the way around this ring. And this would be called double crochet in English, and I think single crochet in America. And if you've watched the beginning bit where I'm crocheting right-handed, you will see that I'm not quite as adept with my left. And that is all to do with just not crocheting this way for so many years as with my right. And once you've built up a speed, you don't want to sacrifice that, really. I think that's the only explanation I've got as to why I don't normally crochet left, even though I can. I'm going to carry on until I've got my ring full. I've got right round the ring, and to close it up I'm just going to look for these little chains that go along the edge, which are every stitch, and I'm going to put my hook into that very first one. That might be a bit of a struggle, but you get through in the end, and you just pick up your loop and bring it back through to the front and then straight through that bit, and that's your ring closed. Everything else is just the same. Well, my crocheting's come out really nice, but I actually haven't got time to schedule this in with my advent diary, so I'm just going to be doing this one. But if you have liked that, please give me the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if that pleases you to see something else that I'm up to. And with that, I'm just going to say bye from Marion's World, and I'll see you tomorrow.